Hello team, my name is Steve Grobecker, and I just recently completed the Sparta 300 for charity event in Greece. We started off in Sparta, and 8 days later we ended up in Thermopylae, at the hot gates of Thermopylae. And I just completed that event with Mr. James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy himself. So, you know, on the last day, on Sunday, we just talked about some of the ailments that hit the team, and one of the biggest ailments that hit the team were blisters. Blisters on the feet. So I mentioned to James that one thing that I've been doing for the past few years now is I make it a habit to tape all of my toes and also my heel as well. And I've found that using the right shoe or the right boot, depending on the activity, I've gone blister free. And so James and I thought that this could be a great video for those of you that are looking for different ideas around how to take care of your feet on long endurance events, whether it's running, rucking, or whatever the activity is. So, just real simply, I'll give a few bullet points here. Number one is the tape. So I definitely, I use rock tape, pretty simple. Rock tape or athletic tape or kinesiology tape can be used in a lot of different ways, but for me, I use this to tape my toes and also the back of my ankle, which I know is a hot spot sometimes for blisters on the back of the ankle, which can be very painful, if you're in a long endurance event like what we just did in Greece. So, so here's what I do. So number one, rock tape, and I've already cut up a few pieces for you. So for me, I know my hot spots are my big toe, and then what I'll try to do is individually wrap each toe. So here's the thought. I pre-cut two pieces of rock tape paper, and these are going to be for my toes. So obviously bigger coverage area, bigger hot spots, and these will be for the toes. Now, what I do is after I cut the pieces is I fold them in half, and I cut around the edges so that it's nice and round. And the reason why that is when you put your socks on, you want to roll your socks up and then gently put them over the tape, because the socks they have a way of taking the tape off, and it's just kind of it defeats the purpose here. So I cut around the edges and I make a circle like that so that it's nice and round. So just like that. Okay. From there, I just apply it. So here's a trick that I do. I'll take the rock tape, the first one, and so we can get this on video for you, and I'll put it on my toe just like this. So right over it, like that, and then I'll bring it down over the toe itself. So that kind of makes like a shield, like a little umbrella there. And then I'll just take the sides and I'll make a tight fit around the edges first. Okay? So essentially what that looks like, it's just like that. Just wrap it right around. As you can see, it's going to cover the bottom of the toe and also the top of the toe, which is great. We had someone on the team where he was losing his toenails during the event, probably day 3, day 4. So I taped up 2 of his toes for him, specifically to keep the toenails in place. So you can see the toenails covered along with the bottom of the toe as well. With the second piece, I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it now around the toe, because I have 2 little flaps right there. So 2 little flaps. I want to wrap it sideways now. So the first way I went down and around. The second way I'm going to wrap the toe so that I can now hide the flaps down like this. You can actually stretch this tape all the way around like that. So your end result is there's your first toe. Okay, so that's the big toe. It's wrapped all the way around. More importantly, there's no additional layers sticking out. And the reason why that's important is, the next toe here, if I have this tape and it's rubbing up against that toe, again, if it's a long endurance event, if you're out there, for a few hours, this toe, if it is untaped and it's rubbing up against this toe, can cause friction, and the friction can actually cause a blister here. So, 2 remedies for that. Either number one, I could take a bunch of Body Glide or some kind of foot goo, just get it nice and wet, and just make sure that when it rubs, there's no friction. The second idea is what I do, which is I'll take tape now and I'll cut, again, 2 pieces of tape. I'll go over the toe like this, the first piece, and then around the toe with the second piece. So the reason why I tape each toe individually is so that there's no friction, there's no rubbing, meaning less blisters out of the road or out of the trail, okay? Last idea I can share with you is how to wrap now the back of the ankle. And just through a lot of trial and experiment, what I've found, if you don't have the right shoe or it's not broken in, the back of the ankle is probably one of the #1 spots where you can get a hot spot or a blister, and you're out. You know, you're out for a few days trying to recover from the blister. So what I do is, again, rock tape. I'll cut a piece long enough where I know it's going to cover the back of that ankle. So I just cut that like that. And again, I want to make sure they got a smooth edge so that it doesn't peel off. And I'll just cut around a circle like that on the edges. And just peel that off. And bear with me for a second here. So it's going to peel it off like that. And I'm going to apply it now to the heel. So as you can see, it's the back of my heel right here. Rub that on nice and hard. And I'm going to stretch it so that it's completely covering the heel. Okay, so what you have now is, you see that my heel is completely covered from here all the way to right about there, right? So once it's on again, you just want to apply some friction to it. Some friction going. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. And that's for the heel. So going back to the ruck march or the endurance event, I was fortunate enough to not get any blisters over the 8 days. And again, I think it just comes down to 2 things. #1, the more you train, obviously, as all of you know, you'll know what your hot spots are. And depending on what those hot spots are, and take the tape, tape the toes, tape the ankle, the back of the ankle that is, and you're good to go from there. One last thing that I did, I experienced actually an ankle issue my first day. So that started to swell up, but I actually used some of this actually KT tape. So KT is different than rock tape. I find the KT tape's a little bit more high grade tape to use, and it's also it's more flexible, and you can wrap it, angle it however you want, but whatever you need with the tape, it'll actually keep, it kept my ankle in place the entire time. That was the first point. And the second point was that with this type of tape, it actually, it does 2 things. #1, the tape itself pulls the skin from off of the bones, meaning more blood circulation, which for me was very important. I didn't want to cramp up any more than I already had in my ankle. And again, #2, it keeps that ankle in place, or whatever it is that you're trying to wrap. So that's it. Hopefully this is very helpful for you. Any questions, obviously please let James know, Cowboy know, and we'll see you soon. Good luck out there, guys. Thank you.